But your second step in building your marketing plan, you need to know your who, so understanding your audience. Now, everyone in marketing talks about finding your audience, but have you ever stopped to think about who your audience actually is? Your audience needs to be made up of people who are most likely to become your ideal customer. So, who is your ideal customer? Your ideal customer is not, quote unquote, everyone. I hear this all the time from people when we're first initially tackling this audience question. Everyone thinks that they can service everyone. In fact, you actually can't, because everyone has limited time and resources. So your ideal customer instead is the type of person who values what you offer, whom you enjoy serving, and who you can also serve at a profit to your company. So once you identify your ideal customer, you can then narrow down your audience and get to know them. So there's two tools for this. The first one is what I like to call a PVP index. And the PVP index is just a simple formula to help you prioritize your different types of customers so you can narrow down your audience. So the P, just to let you know, the P stands for personal fulfillment, the V stands for value, and the second P stands for profitability. We'll go through all of those in just a minute. But in order to use this tool, you first have to figure out the trends and differentiating patterns for your customer base. So if you're in a business-to-business company, this would mean things like, revenue, size of the company, the industry they're in, the customer base, decision makers, goals of the company, mindsets within the company, those sorts of things. If you're in a business to consumer company, then you'll be wanting to look more like personal differentiators like age, income level, education, occupation, family, whether they have a family, if so, how big is their family, usage patterns for the solution, basic demographic information like that. And then once you have those trends and differentiating patterns in your customer base, you can split them out to according to those demographic lines, then you can prioritize them according to these three questions. How much do you enjoy working with them? That's the first P, the personal fulfillment. Second, how much do they value you? That's the V for value. In other words, are they eager to pay you what you're worth? And then finally, the last P, profitability. How profitable is this market segment for your business? So how much is left over after you perform your services? Does it tend to be a pretty wide profit margin, or do you tend to run into the red with serving them? After you rank all of these and you run through all these questions and you prioritize all of your different market segments and customer segments, then you'll want to prioritize them according to the ones that you enjoy working with, value you highly, and are also very profitable. And then you take those different customer segments and you create the persona descriptions. So that the persona descriptions are a detailed description of your target customer and their life. So it's a composite that creates a very vivid picture of them in your mind, so you can visualize life from their perspective. You'll want to be understanding their goals, their desires, their challenges, pain points, background, decision-making preferences, all of those things that impact how you would communicate with them. For instance, if the target segment you're going after, they use, or one of their challenges in life, let's talk about Jackie for a minute. Let's say one of her target market segments is young moms. One of the challenges that they have is getting to the salon because they have young children. But one of their desires is to still have that me time, that self-care time. So she needs to understand how she can help that target market of hers overcome those challenges, how to appeal to them based on their desires so that she can construct her marketing and craft her marketing effectively. So you'll want to be creating a persona for each type of decision maker or influencer in your target market. But again, I know everyone has limited resources, so we typically try to aim at around 3. And that typically gives you a nice broad brush strokes for crafting your messaging, gives you a bunch of different people, gives you a nice wide, but not too wide audience for you to target with your marketing. You also want to be tailoring the questions rather to the specific personas in your business or industry. So for instance, B2B questions are going to look very different from B2C questions. The questions that you'd ask of a business and the questions you'd ask to put together a persona description for a business or the decision makers within a business are going to be very, very different from really digging into a persona for an individual customer. So if you have a service-based business, like let's say, for instance, you're an IT company and you do a lot of work with businesses, your personas are going to look very different from, let's say, a retail company who's always working with customers. So one of the biggest factors that can really give you good personas is by using real data as much as possible. So that means conducting interviews with your best customers, examining your customer service or support logs, examining your sales reports, even just sitting down and chatting with your customers when they enter your store. You want to have these personas be as closely matched to the actual people that you service so that you're not building personas off of false data and conjectures. Use that real data as much as possible.